Hey guys, today's profile review is all about how do you climb out of silver. So it doesn't matter what champions you play or what role you play. These are the 5 big things you need to focus on for Season 13, Season 2023, next year, well this year actually, because it is the second, is you need to play enough games. So firstly, the majority of silver players do not play enough games. You need to be playing about 200 to 300 games in order to climb out of silver. The second thing is you need to choose one role. You need to main a role. The easiest and most consistent way players climb out of silver for the first time is to choose one role and stick to it. The third is champion pool. Again, one tricking is the fastest way to climb out of silver. It doesn't matter what champion as long as you enjoy it and have at least a 55% win rate. If you need a bigger champion pool, I would recommend maximum 3 champions, no more than that. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and it's going to take you too long and you're going to ruin your MMR. The fourth one is your CS per minute. The biggest thing silver players struggle with when climbing out of silver for the first time into gold is their CS per minute. You need to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 7 CS depending on your role, champion, and basically rank. But yeah, silver, 5.5 to 7. And the last one is laning phase. The biggest thing in game that silver players struggle with when climbing out of silver for the first time is their laning phase. So CS per minute, deaths, recall timers, wave management, and poking. Guys, if you want your profile review, check out the link in the YouTube description below. You can book your call with me, get your very own profile review like this. If you're also interested in the paid coaching solution I talk about, in order showing basically this guy how to go from silver 3 to plat, which is his goal. If you're interested in booking a free call with me, I've also put a link to that in the YouTube description below where you can go ahead and just chuck in a link. Let's get into the profile review. But the next 10 minutes, I'm basically going to break down everything you need to do. Sorry, that's my account. I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to do to go from silver into gold, into plat, into diamond. And the 5 things we're going to be focusing on, Nick, though, are the fact that you have to play more games. So ideally 200 to 300 a season. You need to choose one role and stick with it. You need to choose a champion pool in that role, ideally 1 to 3 champions. You need to focus and improve your CS per minute, particularly if you're choosing a role that isn't support. And your biggest thing, regardless of what role or champions you play, is you need to fix your laning phase. So let's get into the account. So currently you're silver 3 and your goal is to get to platinum diamond. Now firstly, you're not playing enough games to get to platinum or diamond. So you need to make the choice next season and go, can I actually play enough games to get to platinum or diamond? For a silver 3 player averaging about a 55% win rate, it's going to take you at least 300, 400 games to get to platinum. And even just to go from silver 3 to gold 4, it can sometimes take silver players about 100, 150, even 200 games if you're averaging around that 53 to 55% win rate. So the first thing you got to make sure with yourself is, can you actually play enough games to climb out of silver and to climb to that gold rank regardless of what role or what champions you play? Because if you can't do that, well then you're just never going to be able to climb. It might take you a few seasons, you might get there eventually, but it's not realistic for next season. If you're playing the similar amount of volume of games that you played last season, I would say maybe a goal for you is about gold 4, because it looks like you're only playing about 75 to 100 games a season, but I can already see that you've played about 50 in the preseason. So maybe you are going to put in the volume this season, and I would definitely say plat is a realistic goal, but we need to fix a few things before we get there. So the next thing I want you to focus on if you're looking to climb out of silver as a primary concern is your role. Right now, I can see you're playing support, you're playing Thresh, Alistair, Shaco, Yorick, Nautilus, then you're playing 80 carry, and then you're playing mid lane, back to mid lane. Now you're playing GP. I don't even know what's going on here. So you just need to figure out what role you want to play, Nicto, and just stick with it. It doesn't actually matter what role. You can climb on any role out of silver. Just play what you enjoy the most and what you're best at. If you can just find the role that those 2 things, it's the highest probability, or it's the highest synergy between having fun and being good at the game on that role, that is the role you need to choose. It doesn't matter if it's mid lane, top lane, bot lane, support, jungle. It doesn't matter. Just pick one role, because if you're trying to learn 5 roles at once, it's going to take forever and it doesn't align with your rank goal. If your goal was, let's say, to get to silver 1 or gold 4, I'd go, well, okay, maybe you can play multiple roles. But if you're trying to get to the top 7 to 2% of League of Legends players, and right now you're in the top 50%, you need to change a lot of things and you need to do what 98% of other players aren't doing. And only about 90% of players focus on one role and focus on a small champion pool. So if you can just do that, you're already in the top 10% of players in terms of strategy. So if you can just do that, we're already like 60% of the way there before we're actually even getting into queue. Just having a strategy for how you're going to climb over the season by focusing on one role is super important. The next thing you need to do is once you've focused or figured out what role you want to play, Nikto, you need to now build a champion pool. Now, again, the champions do not matter. It does not matter what champions you want to play in order to climb from silver to gold out of silver. All you need to do is enjoy them and be good on them. And by good, I mean at least a 55% win rate. If you can get a 55% win rate on champion, they are perfect for solo queue and they are perfect for climbing out of silver. Again, it doesn't matter which role, just pick a role and pick a champion pool. For you, I'd recommend 1 to 3 champions. If you're trying to climb really quickly out of silver, one trick a champion. Again, doesn't matter which one, just one trick it. If you're looking to, develop your champion pool and learn some champions along the way, pick 2 to 3 champions that you have a good win rate on and that you enjoy, and that'll be super easy to do. The fourth thing you need to focus on, if you're not focusing on being a support or a jungler, you need to fix your CS per minute. I'm looking at your mid lane games and I can see you averaging about 5.5 CS per minute, which is okay. And your Yasuo CS per minute is actually really good. So what again I recommend is, let's say if you are focusing on mid lane for this season, focus on Yasuo because you've got the fundamentals down packed here. A lot of your other champions like 4.8 CS per minute, 5.1, 4.2, 6.3 on Vlad's a little bit better, but that win rate's really bad. So you really need to focus on that CS per minute and make sure that the champions you're choosing in your champion pool, if you're not going to focus on support, you are generating enough CS per minute. And to be honest, 6.9 is perfect. That will get you. You don't need to actually, if you're just playing Yasuo, you don't need to focus on CS per minute any more than that. 6.9 is a really good number for Silver 2. And that can actually get you all the way to Gold or Platinum. You wouldn't actually really need to focus on your CS per minute. What you would, though, need to focus on is how much you're dying, averaging 7 deaths a game. 5.9 on Yasuo isn't too bad. I would recommend about 5.5, so getting that down to about half a death a game. But besides that, your Yasuo is actually looking like one of your keys to climbing out of silver, at least in the short term. So if you're really struggling, you're going, oh, I play support, I've played mid, I've played top, I don't know what to play, I've played 80 carry, and you're like, coach, just tell me the champ that I can get out of silver with in the quickest amount of time possible by looking at your account. If I was you, if I jumped into your body tomorrow and I had to get out of silver in the shortest amount of time possible, I would pick your Yasuo because right now you've got the best statistics here. I can see 58% win rate, that's 6.9 CS per minute, and that 5.9 deaths, while it is a little high, is still by far your best champion. And remember, all we need is that 55% win rate, and we can climb out of silver super easy. Last thing I want to talk about is your laning phase. So I can see here at 15 minutes, you're behind 100 gold, which is really weird because you're basically playing very strong laning phase mid laners, which again comes back to this small champion pool because you're unable to master when we're trying to play like 5 champions at once. And it's what? You've played the game for 3 seasons. Okay, you've played the game for 3 seasons, so you have a bit of good champion knowledge. But if we're trying to climb out of silver, out of gold, eventually out of platinum into diamond, this champion pool's too big and there's a lot of negative win rates on here. So what I recommend, again, based on your personal situation, is you can't have a big champion pool if your goal is climbing. If your goal is just to learn the game, have fun, learn new champions, try every role, and like you just don't want to get bored, then yeah, it's fine. Play as many champions as you want. But if you're serious about climbing out of silver, you need to narrow that champion pool down and you need to focus on your laning phase. Now, Nikto, all those things can get you to where you want. The problem is only 2% of players ever get to diamond. Now, the reason that is basically 1, they don't follow through on the strategy. 2, they don't know where to improve. Or 3, they just don't have the willpower or the drive to get there. So what I've actually started creating, this is what's helped climb, I think about just over 100 now players into Diamond for the first time. So into the top 2% of players in their region is my monthly ranked climbing plan. And basically what it is we have VOD reviews monthly. I set you monthly goals, I track your statistics, and I give you the very best up-to-date data of exactly what you need to do in your personal situation. Not to go from Silver 2 to Diamond, but to go from Silver 2 to Gold 4, to Gold 2, to Plat 4, to Plat 2, eventually into Diamond. And basically what we do is month on month, I break down every single thing you need to focus on to get through to that next step. Silver 2 to Silver 1, what do we need to focus on? Silver 1 to Gold 4, what do we need to focus on? Gold 4 to Plat 4, and we break down every single hurdle until you get to your rank goal. So if you're interested in learning more about that, Nicto, once you've watched this, message me on Discord and I will give you a link to book a one-on-one call with me, which is completely free. No strings attached, and just tell you exactly what that kind of coaching plan would look like for you based on your situation and after you've watched this profile review. So anyway, mate, you've got a lot of potential here. You just need to narrow down that champion pool, focus on one role, and ideally, I would say one trick Yasuo. You got to play more games, you got to focus on your CS per minute, and you got to fix that laning phase. If you can do all that, you're going to be doing really well, and you should be able to climb out of silver. I hope you've enjoyed this profile review. Cheers. Good luck with the Rift, and I'll talk to you once you've watched this.